Hello, Miramar. How we doing? There's a few people out there. Thank you for coming, regardless if it was for extra credit or just because you're here because you want to be here. So we appreciate you being here. One more time, how's it going, Miramar College? There we go. So to give you a little background on what we're doing today. First of all, I would like to thank Miramar College. I would like to thank the LEAD Office, Leadership, Equity, Anti-Racism, and Diversity. I would like to thank the IDEA Committee who funded this. They're the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Anti-Racism Committee. So because of them and because of Miramar College, we are able to bring in such amazing poets as we are about to have today. So this program is called Hearing Marginalized Voices Through Poetry. And the reason that we started this program is because often when we talk about poetry, people think that we're stuck in this same loop of the same poets from the same era, and that's all we ever talk about. And so students especially don't understand that poetry is alive, poetry is existing, poetry is happening right outside your front door. And it's been primarily the marginalized voices that you don't hear because they're the ones that are on the streets doing it. They're the ones that are just a few generations away from their oral traditions and their oral histories. And so what we're hearing in these poets of today, this is the modern day oral history. And it's important for us to hear when we're celebrating something like Latinx heritage. It's not just like to mark a box and celebrate and say, hey, we did it, but I want people to understand the experiences. I want people to understand from the people who are living it what's actually happening on the streets. So that's the theme for the program. So once again, thank you everyone involved. I'm going to open it up. I myself am not of Latino heritage, in case you didn't notice, but I still want to give respect where respect is due. So I would like to open today by reading a poem by Jimmy Santiago Baca. This poem is called Immigrants in Our Own Land. We are born with dreams in our hearts, looking for better days ahead. At the gates we are given new papers, our old clothes are taken, and we are given overalls like mechanics wear. We are given shots and doctors ask questions, then we gather in another room where counselors orient us to the new land we will now live in. We take tests. Some of us were craftsmen in the old world, good with our hands and proud of our work. Others were good with their heads. They used common sense like scholars, used glasses and books to reach the world, but most of us didn't finish high school. The old men who have lived here stare at us from deep, disturbed eyes, sulking, retreated. We pass them as we stand around idle, leaning on shovels and rakes or against walls. Our expectations are high. In the old world, they talked about rehabilitation, about being able to finish school and learning an extra good grade, an extra good trade. But right away, we are sent to work as dishwashers, to work in fields for 3 cents an hour. The administration says this is temporary, so we go about our business. Blacks with blacks, poor whites with poor whites, Chicanos and Indians by themselves. The administration says this is right, no mixing of cultures, let them stay apart, like in the old neighborhoods where we came from. We came here to get away from false promises, from dictators in our neighborhoods who wore blue suits and broke our doors down when they wanted, arrested us for whatever they felt like, swinging clubs and shooting guns as they pleased. But it's no different here. It's all concentrated. The doctors don't care, our bodies decay, our minds deteriorate. We learn nothing of value. Our lives don't get better. My cell is crisscrossed with laundry lines. My t-shirts, boxer shorts, socks, and pants are drying, just like it used to be in my neighborhood. From all the tenements, laundry hung window to window. Across the way, Joey is sticking his hands through the bars to hand Felipe a cigarette. Men are hollering back and forth, cell to cell, saying their sinks don't work, or somebody downstairs hollers angrily about the toilet overflowing, or that the heaters don't work. I asked Coyote next door to shoot me over a little more soap to finish my laundry. I look down and see my new immigrants coming in. Mattresses rolled up on their shoulders, new haircuts, brogan boots, looking around, each with a dream in their heart, thinking he'll get a chance to change his life. But in the end, Some will just sit around talking about how good the old world was. Some of the younger ones will become gangsters, some will die, others will go on living without a soul, a future, or a reason to live. Some will make it out of here with hate in their eyes, but so very few make it out of here as human, as they came in. They leave wondering what good they are now, as they look at their hands, so long away from their tools, as they look at themselves, so long gone from their families, so long gone from life itself. So many things have changed. So now that we've got things set up, we're going to get to the actual show. Special surprise, we actually have two poets today. So we have our featured poet, which I will announce in a minute. But to open things up, we are going to invite to the stage an amazing poet, a Chicano Renaissance man. He was the first author from the Sims Library of Poetry up in Los Angeles with his first book called Ketchup. And if you would like to know more about it, please talk to him about it. I believe he has a couple of books out right now. Please, when I say, real quick, how many people have never been to a poetry reading before? I have no idea? Okay. So, poetry is alive and well. So you don't have to just sit there with your hands folded and listen, right? So if you hear something that resonates with you, you can let them know. Let the poets know you appreciate what they're doing. So we're going to practice real quick, okay? So if you hear something you really like it's like good food that makes the soul warm, and you go, let me hear you say that. Right on. If you hear something that you really, really resonate with, you can go in, poet. Everyone try that. Go in, poet. Go in, poet. There you go. Or you can say, okay. Okay, there you go. They're trained. So, when I say give it up, I mean give it up. Let them know it's City and Mesa, what's going on here in Miramar. So give it up for Carlos Onedas. Give it up.
Hello. I am an honest woman. So you will believe me when I say, I have been on the top of this so-called man's world. I've walked bare feet on wet glass ceilings, breastfeeding, pregnant, with a baby on one arm and hair in a bun held with scrunchie. My hair is both curly and straight. My skin, a wall of silk of different tones like church bells or seasons. I am an African, Asian, Aryan, Latina, indigenous woman. I've been denied the right to own property, the right to vote, the right to study, the right to hope, the right to dream, the right to lead, the right to write, but never more. What if one day, someday, on God's green earth, I decide to deny the right to give birth? What then, if births should end? I control the fate of men. I am womanhood's reprise, the universe between my thighs. Joyous hymns are in my cries, futures gleam within my eyes. For I am woman, gun in hand, mother of the Son of Man, Mother Nature's pretty danger, cultivator of God's land. I am the spiritual, sexual, intellectual being. It is I, the pyramid's eye, that's all seeing. I am man's wife and God's baby daughter. I'm the tree of life, humanity's godmother. I'm heaven's most precious angel that can switch into the most evil, devilish. I am the temptress, mistress, gangstress, princess, queen and empress with restless pimpstress. I have been, I am history's unsung hero, blamed for all of human evil. They say I'm the first to sin. They say I was birthed by him. From his rib I was conceived. He the day and I the eve. I the weak and he the strong. He the right and I the wrong. He the pollen, I the seed. He shall lead and I shall bleed. He shall fertilize the earth. I shall bear the pain of birth. For I am woman, conned, betrayed, cheated on and made to blame. I've been worshipped more than the usual suspect. Flowers of fresh orchids, they have made me out to be lethal as the silent sea, silent me, an autumn blossom, winter solstice, splintered lotus. Wonder if they even noticed when I wrote this from the bottom. My ideas are feared severe. I had to buy a man to jot them, or to merely talk about them. The cold touch of mausoleums, because I am an honest woman, from within the very omen, from the entrails of my ovum, master of a handsome moment, beauty of a language stolen, masquerade in jade importance, for the sake of earthly orbits and early births, a future dormant. I am an honest woman. Thank you. I'm not really an honest woman. Sorry.
I was gonna say you're a liar.
Yeah. I'm the wetback. My water-soaked shoes left the wet track. I got deported twice, but that was just a minor setback. Cause I'm strong like the current of the Colorado River. The tone of my courage made the border patrol shiver. I've been through all the borders, El Paso, Tijuana, Agua Prietas, Palomas. I move like smoke of marijuana. I'm smooth and unnoticed. Some label me as illegal, but if they would really notice, I'm a reflection of their ego. I'm the reason why government created Border Patrol. They already took our land, but they'll never take my soul. See, I was blind to the fact that this land belonged to me. Now I'm a slave in the place my ancestors were royalty. They stole my history, my beliefs, even my pride. The Jews weren't the only ones who suffered genocide. Now I have to sneak into the land that I once ruled. They told us we're illegal, now I know that we were fooled. What's my name? Where am I from? I know that you don't know. That's why they label me simply as a UFO. Alien, an unidentified foreign object, but you should think twice about the words that you select. I'm the wetback, son of the rain and the pain. My brain remains trapped with an invisible chain. Society's my prison. From the water I have risen. I'm not being treated fair. Why don't anybody listen? Borders are just stupid reasons made by man to have land to their name and to have the upper hand. The government's a backstabbing, land-thieving crook. Why don't they write about that shit in the history book? But the words I say are senseless. You'll never believe me. Because I'm trapped and defenseless in the land of the free. I'm the wetback. My water-soaked shoes left the wet track. I got deported twice, but that was just a minor setback. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Carlos Ramirez. So yeah, we are out in the courtyard. I didn't think about the plane. That's on me, my bad. But it's a beautiful place to be. That's cool though, because they can drown out some of the things that, this is a free speech area. I should have probably established that ahead of time. So get ready, folks. So now we're going to bring to the mic Sandy Shakes, a spoken truth artist, homegrown in Boyle Heights, born in Chicago Heights, which is the south side of Chicago, even though she's told it's 5 minutes from the south side of Chicago. She's shared microphones all over LA County, San Diego, New Mexico, El Paso. She has collaborated and performed for many poetic organizations. She's had her work honored in powerful anthologies. In the last few years, she's led poetry workshops, spoken in classrooms, and had her stories featured in up-and-coming podcasts. She just recently released her first poetry chapbook, baptized Scribble Scrabbles, and if you're interested in that, you can talk to her afterwards. So we're going to bring up the poet to the stage, and then after that, we're going to have a Q&A session. If you want to ask the poet anything about their experience, where they came from, why they do what they do. But without further ado, please give a very loud welcome to Sandy Shakes.
Party started. Here we go. How many of you guys are freshmen out there? Any freshmen? Beautiful. This one's for you. Freshmen, circa 2002. Campus, somewhere where the beaches are long and most heads are blonde. I walked into my first lecture hall, terrified of what it represented. My homie on my shoulder, we'll call him Síndrome del Imposter. He would kick my ankle, so I started walking with the ghetto swag. I smacked him and told myself, we will not trip. I kept hiding, only to stand out like my Cena de Nuez rudely dripping on this white canvas of a college dream. It was only a matter of time until staff learned to pronounce the Mexican R in my last name, right? Wrong. Seating for 300, and I wish to get lost at sea with ships owned by families named Smiths, Evans, and Johnson. But my name crashed on their pallet like an iceberg into the Titanic, spit on my heritage and called me a pirate in their pilgrim ocean. I would rather have walked the plank than to have them know I learned how to swim by accident in a public pool with bullet holes left on cheap plastic windows. No one owned the pool where I'm from, but we all bathed in stories of El Rio Grande. We imagined ourselves being giants who saved every person lost. Hollywood dreamt of our neighborhoods, but we knew all the younger ones who would not make it to the premiere of our stories. Water promises life to only a few. Boyle Heights in the 90s was the Sahara, and this dehydrated love killed many of my friends, no matter how many crusty hoses the summer lent us. I drove far to reach this long beach of beautiful, expensive fog. At times I became Alice, and it was a wonder how I ended up here. I searched my pockets for the bottle labeled "Drink Me." I prayed to a brown virgin, hoping she would shrink me into my cup holder. The whispers of white students announcing they saw a real Mexican and her last name was Rabbit. She must be late because in this land of beaches that are long, fog remains expensive. That semester the beach won. The racial tide was too high and I was too short. My hair was brown and CoverGirl still had not yet created my skin tone. No one had taught me how to hide my broken cement scars, so I tripped on my path there. 2 semesters later, I returned, but this time to a campus where our Señora de Los Angeles spread brown glitter in classmates that helped me glow bright. I was the first generation to cross a college stage. I felt the presence of every friend who crossed on to the other side. For them, with wings dusted in incense so that when they follow, sage will always protect their vision. Alright, here we go. So I'm taking you on a little story. Obviously, I'm an alumni of 2 schools, and one I finished was Cal State LA. So here we are. All of us have different places where we're from, but it's important to find a home where you belong, okay? So this one is dedicated to that. And I like the bass in these airplanes, they're giving me background music. I live in a one-way street where people are forced to go in an unintended direction. Like a poet fearful of her full potential, you just end up there. Surrounded by older generations who sometimes gift us lemons from their wisdom trees. This is my neighborhood, but it is not where my roots were born. Memories, smells of Boyle Heights have gotten brought out by CEOs claiming to be OGs. It used to smell of warm conchas on cold mornings. Now the vape pens pollute the oxygen with rancid, chemical, fruity flavors. All the kids are poisoned when they taste the rainbow. The open mics are gone. The hosts have moved on. My audience wore khakis and Cortez. But the new theater, it brings in bow ties. Rich people who can afford not to wear socks. So I traveled to find my poets, the ones who make me feel at home. When I arrive on stage and they greet me in my 10-year-old version, no judgment, offering hugs and my broken inner child sings again. A group of outcasts, quiet, loud, Cheech and Chong or Charlie Chaplin types of poets, smoky masterpiece in their eyes, always rusty to outsiders, But inside these crooked city council lines, my friends remain the shiniest bubblegum cement. They snap and I move in. They feed me words and there are no more empty food pantries. They warm up the mic and I sign the lease. Poets who offer me church in an unholy land. Community built where words can live safely. Even if I currently live on a one-way street, this is not my neighborhood. My roots are planted in a community where flowers chase the sun's rays, where my brand sun rises and builds new heights, and chamacos who looked up to El Chavo now run venues their younger selves would have been kicked out of. We are no longer running, and San Diego has turned on the mics for us to speak. Okie dokie. And we're gonna go back in time a little bit again. Sometimes some of us have parents who end up raising us, and other times we end up raising them. And this poem is toward that. As a child, you imagine yourself to become ... I didn't ... I lived minute by minute in a world imprisoned by adults. One day, my mother bought me the movie Matilda. And in that film, I saw the dysfunction. I saw the load I carried when two individuals accidentally get assigned to a child. No credit check, no background fingerprints. They weren't even qualified goldfish guardians. But alas, I had hoped that one day my hands would give me the power to heal myself. I never dreamt it would be my quiet, scared brown girl voice that would be the protagonist that would set me free. In my imagination, I housed my heart. This way, intruders could break in, but the pieces I could always sweep up. Put them together like the puzzle my baby would be born with. Tape them up and form an abstract heartbeat. As a child, I imagined growing up and raising my parents into humans I would never allow to hurt me. Alright, so let's keep ourselves in this dark, colorful place for a little while. How many of you guys watched the show Cops? It's kind of retro now, but okay, back in the day, yes. Hopefully you weren't all cops. Okay, here we go. No one ever tells you the first time you'll be on a TV show called, on a TV show would be called Cops. Or so I thought. Little 5-year-old me, a Boyle Heights newly planted tree in a house that would become haunted by newly imposed domestic violence Polaroids. It's funny how violence is never scary to those who were born with its familiar reels. You recognize the episodes before they become a full series. They came in with their flashlights, boots, and keys. The jingle of the keys always makes me shiver just a bit. And yet the purpose of their visits was never about the purpose of their visit, but about the exposure. Am I on TV? Will everyone at school see me in pajamas? How insecure a 5-year-old me felt with my hair a mess, tears that I did not own falling into my face. And yet, the simple thought of being exposed for the family that we are terrified me, took my words away. The future poet in me choked on that stage on the Boyle Heights incident. My father was bleeding and my uncle was bleeding, but in my heart I knew that these men would always cause blood to flow. To be continued. There would definitely be more episodes. society is, alas, burning with fever, and we need to ask ourselves, what can we do to be the change? Right? Here we go. This one is called Gunpowder Question. If it took tears to stop a sniper, how many would it take to slow down the progression of his hate? If we all cried him a river, would his finger not choose to trigger us, trigger them? What good does a trigger warning do if the truth shoots me and shoots you? If we turn social media off, would a shooter's bullet grow silent in a playground full of trees? How have we become this kind of place? Why does Middle America keep getting shot with their own love of gunpowder? How many light bulbs getting cracked does it take one school to realize active shooter drills are not elementary? Yeah. The ridiculous legacy we have built when other countries tell us we resemble an Elmer Fudd rabbit hunt. May the biggest cannonball destroy the planet so one cartoon can raise their flag and say, I win. Children taken by guerrilla forces, hands smaller than their imported machine guns, wearing faded shirts Tupac Shakur printed in prayer mode. We look down on them because their feet have no shoes, but our gun laws have no souls, and the bullets that we store end up gifted to bloodthirsty lords of war. We like to pretend we are a first world country, but eat with third world bad manners. Still have greed in our teeth and trade our plates for selfie sticks. Can we feed our high horse bullshit-free pasture? If it left us stranded in our John Wayne Western, would it give us time to let our feet do the walking and feel the earth we have destroyed? The mutant crops, what the hell is a seedless anything? Mandated quotas for farmers to grow poison apples while brown field hands grow cancerous. The snow is very white in America, but the sun always shows where brown soil was ripped apart. And that brown always have deep roots. I bleed for me and I bleed for you. I'm tired of questions. Don't send prayers, send poets, because the rest of them ain't saying shit anyway. I'm gonna give you guys a couple more, okay? Let's see. I have a son. His name is Avalon. He is autistic, and he also has the best heart I've ever seen in this planet. So here we go. It's for him. Come on, play. Okay, this one's called Muse. Right. The beat, every beat, the right beat at the wrong time. Can you remix it? Can I ask for a different track? Because half of your production team made me feel bootleg. It was never your fault, baby. I was a hook and bound to get jacked for my royalties. You were the only song I wanted to play loud as let the speakers blow out because your love would be the ultimate release party. The small note escaping sounds of bullets, war, ghetto battle cries, and international political righteousness of a veteran and a simple girl from an East Side hood who refused to know better because the flags were there. This beat was formed in a broken womb gathered by enough hormones flowed over chromosome by chromosome and rescued by butterfly wings. They call it a butterfly effect. Nothing has ever been the same again. Layers of prayers so that my seed could one day breathe and then hold his breath. To kick his mama's belly while her grand laughter disturbed his peaceful water nap. The beat, every beat, the right beat at the wrong time. Can you remix it? Can I ask for a different track because half of your production team made me feel bootleg? It was never your fault, baby. I was never told I was a classic, so I allowed them to sample me. I made a puzzle piece and they told me to spell autism. A unique brain, they said. So unique your son will never feel complete. His senses will always be on 4D and no way to turn it down. He will be programmed on loud. And there will be days when he forgets to show you he loves you completely. But his smile will have the power to light up the broken circuits left in your chest. My son likes deeper melodies, so keep the notes on a trombone kind of scale. Ask the violins if they can take 5 for this kid. I prayed for jazz and my baby told me, look mama how I sing. The beat, every beat, the right beat at the wrong time. Can you remix it? Can I ask for a different track? Because half of your production team made me feel bootleg. It was never your fault, baby. I was, and that's not who I have become. I am an artist and you are my muse. Show me the palette you prefer and I will burn all the colors that won't turn into your sunset. I will ban all the sharp lines so that you can draw over them safely. I will stand next to you and we will become the most perfect melody. The beat, every beat, the right beat. I will never play another track because you will stay on repeat. I love you, Abby. How many of you like coffee? Yes, I know, you're living on it, right? Well, let me tell you something about this piece. I was asked to write a piece that would be honored on a coffee wall, and I'm like, do I get free coffee for life? And they're like, no, but okay, here we go. It's called Sacred Heart. With the prayers of all the little brown girls who were not holy enough to wear their mother's cape, I sent forgiveness to the women who inherited a shadow and thus blocked out their daughter's sun, and the ones who were punished for breaking the silence their great-grandmother's scream shattered. Pero sin means without in Mexican tongues. Without leaves curious little girls free to return within. A place so sacred that stained glass windows are blinded by their light. An artistic home where they are welcome to feel safe. I call upon my inner child and pray she opens a door to her chakras. There is no devil, corazón de melón, and the older version of you has already danced with him. Don't be afraid of what the chismosa ladies say. You were born with the gift. You were born an empath with the lion heart. You will speak softly, but your words will roar. Growing up feeling so alone will cause you to hold those accountable that didn't teach you how to hug or cuddle like they do in the movies. Because when you walk yourself home, no one was there to ask you how your day was. Or maybe you were hungry, and you were always hungry, but too scared to ask for nourishment we could not afford, not emotionally or financially. Shame on those that were absent, those that made you become a substitute parent at the age of 10, those that forced your tiny shoulders to carry the world's dark truths on your spirit. I am here now, mija. You are absolved now from all your parental rights to seeds you never planted, to seeds you never planted, to see what you never planted, to plant the seed you never planned on, to plant the roots where your wildflower is allowed to grow. You don't have to pretend anymore. Mi amor, I am here. Pick your little head up, put on your skates, show the world how you glide on broken concrete. My little future poet, you will be the bouquet of roses your mother never received. You will now bloom for the both of you, and there will always be enough water. There will always be enough water. Please let me water you. Give me your heart. Let's scrub those bad memories with your abuelita's powerful pink soap. Scrub until our knuckles are raw and we hang our healed laundry up for the sun to dry. You will birth the sun, and he will teach you how to happy cry. Take a breath. Close your eyes and receive, receive, receive. Thank you for listening to the future of you. I will see you in tomorrow's dream. One more thing. Please put the cape on. Guadalupe said you didn't have to come to church to pray for her love. You're still her favorite daughter. You are still somebody's daughter. All right. So what you guys think? We're not very Shakespearean up here, right? I think it's time I open it up to any questions, comments, concerns. Hopefully not. Yes. Yes.
First of all, I would like to thank you for sharing your work, and also that as someone who is on the spectrum, it's so important for autistic children to have supportive and loving mothers. So thank you so much.
Give this person a round of applause. Right here. What was your name? Thank you, Nico. I appreciate you.
And I'm sure you got this question like 1,000 times before, but I wanted to ask, what inspired you to be a poet?
Sometimes when you come from spaces where you don't feel safe or not welcome, the only thing you can do is write words that you would maybe like somebody to tell you. And that was the answer to her question. What inspired you to be a poet? Thanks. I saw a question over here. This gentleman? No? You had a question? Oh, yes. Gentleman with the shades over there in the corner? Yes. I do have a book, yes. It's a miniature book. Let me show you. So the funny thing about this, as you can see, I'm not the most tidiest person in the world. So I've been writing for like 20 years, running away from powerful poets who have millions of books, and I said no thank you. Finally, they caught me, and a lot of people where I grew up from are leading kind of colorful lives still, and so I decided to make a book so that if they are running or in motion, they can slip it in their back pocket and read it when they have time. And so birds scribble scrabbles, right?
Because if I'm running,
Right.
you're running.
We are running. Okay. So I will read one piece from this, okay? And it's a good feeling piece. I feel like if you're a good poet or a good writer or a good orator, you don't need to bring bad news into your pieces when you don't have to, right? Sometimes we do, but we need to balance that and give energy and light to the room, okay? So here we go. Reporting from Channel It's All Good today, a patrol car stopped a car full of Mexicans because their taillight was gone. Officer forgot his handgun in his car and handed them a fix-it ticket with a drive safe, y'all. They all made it home. In the next town over, an African-American woman was sleeping. When she woke up, she found a note on her door stating, "The police were here last night, ma'am. However, your neighbors told us we should let you rest. The nights at the hospital you work for are heavy. We just wanted to let you know you left the hose on. We turned it off for you. Good night and have a good shift." She made it to work the next day. On a well-lighted street not too different from yours, a young man was skipping and jamming to his tunes. A white woman looked out and yelled, "Hey, hey!" He stopped, took his ear pods off. She asked, "What song is making you flow along like that?" He smiled and responded, "The Seed by the Roots." She said, "Oh yeah, the drums and Cody Chestnut make me float that way too." She closed the window, he waved bye. The next day, this young man sang this tempo to two shelter cats he named Rock and Roll. In another city, a teenage son, brother, and friend who happened to inherit a chocolate skin tone went to the store with his favorite hoodie on. Halfway back from his walk, a pickup truck honked. He turned around and paused. The man got off and walked up to him. "Hey man, I saw you drop these a few blocks back. I'm a Skittles fan myself." The teenager said thanks and made it home to play Xbox. In a He ran outside with the baby boy in his hands, so there's no way to put his hands where their eyes could see, when one patrol car responded, unarmed, blanket in hand, and helped them both. And finally, a mixed autistic boy wearing oversized Dickies, hoodie, earphones, Skittles in hand ran toward a police officer and offered a handshake. He said, "Hello, Officer Mendoza. My name is Avalon, and in my mom's poem, we both live." No guns were drawn in any of these cities because bullets were priced at $1,000 a round. For once, keeping a human alive became more cost efficient than deciding otherwise. Thank you all for tuning in to channel It's All Good today. All our coverage was made possible by a defunded police station near you. Thank you very much. Yes.
So that was a wonderfully positive note, so I'm sorry to take it in the other direction. But just for context, so people understand, like, you grew up in Boyle Heights. What does that mean? What was that like? Like, just so and how is that connected to, like, why poetry? Why is poetry the way, the vehicle you use to express whatever you live through?
Thank you for that. Okay, so growing up in Boyle Heights, and I want you guys to just sit in this moment and just kind of imagine it. It was a neighborhood that is very, very different from what it is now, right? We had what we call tienditas. So we may not have big grocery stores, but we have mom and pop shops. Everybody basically resided in the area and also grew up there, and a lot of people didn't leave, and most importantly, didn't feel the power to change, okay? When you come from a neighborhood that is full of any kind of immigrant people, right? Number one is survival. Your parents may tell you, we came to this country, keep your mouth shut, keep your head down. It's not because they're not angry. I want you guys to really understand that. Of course they're angry. Not only can people be angry in unserved areas, right? But there is an entire societal structure that you guys are learning about, right? In these neighborhoods, when I talk about city council lines, and I'm not gonna go into that whole because we'll be here all night. Certain monies is dedicated to certain parts of the city. Well, guess what? Parts of the city who make less profit or have less revenue get less money. So we're a beautiful neighborhood in Orange County. Paved roads look like freaking diamonds compared to a little street in the hood that has like potholes, like your car will get stuck in there and then you just stay there. That is the difference, okay? So all these things are happening still amongst, like you've seen all these stories, you find joy, and you find joy because that is part of your survival, okay? By the time I was 18, I have been to more funerals and wakes than most people have been to by the time they're 65, okay? Me and my friends would joke, we have a certain area in your closet with black clothes, you're already ready. But in the Mexican culture, there's this beautiful way of not putting a Band-Aid, but soothing pain with humor, with stories, with lessons. There's so much beauty that can be interwoven with pain. I want you guys to find your art, because it really is your art, and the people that manage to let their art be free don't care. It's really difficult for your generation because the tickety talks and the snappity chats and you know what I mean? And all these things where you guys have to be like selfie. And you know, the kind of older people are kind of like, we didn't need to record everything, okay? But having said that, if you find your art and you do it because you love it, but but most importantly, you do it because it helps you breathe and smile, you will be the happiest artist you can find. Do not do it. You know, everything else, like I talked to my friend here, Bear, comes after, right? The opportunities come after. But the most important thing that you cannot teach an artist is to have heart. Once you find that, you're good. And I thank you all for sitting here and listening. You could have flown with anybody else, but you're here with us. And congratulations on this journey that you're choosing to educate yourself and learn more about how the world works so that you can make it work better, right? Any more questions? Like questions, comments? Yes.
I'm wondering, two questions. One, how much do you think the CIA paid to have airplanes fly over to disrupt subversive artists?
I'm definitely being followed by them, but also they send me like cool playlists sometimes, so I'm like,
Oh, there you go. That was about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Two, I don't want to get too personal, so I don't want to make you uncomfortable with this question, but I am curious, as an artist and as a Chicana Latina, how you identify, are you able to draw any parallels between your experience and your son's experience as somebody with autism?
I think that I wish the world functioned, and I will tell you guys what his question was if you didn't hear him, the way my autistic son sees it. It is very black and white for him. He is not impressed at all of whatever I do. It's like, I told him once, hey baby, I'm gonna do a YouTube show. And he's like, oh, that's fine, Mama, can you make me a sandwich? Like, it's not even. So, also, in my son's case, and I can't generalize, his autism is, he would have been like higher functioning, I don't like that word, but higher on the spectrum. But he's also very sensitive, so I don't really share my stories with him. However, he still is located in the neighborhood where I grew up. Sometimes he visits, but now it's like gentrified, like they have Walgreens, you know? and kids now, or at least if you're in a better place, I can't say for everybody, will never have our experience because their mothers and fathers worked so hard so that they would never know what it felt like to raise their siblings or go to sleep hungry and all these things. And the little bit of stories that he has heard, he will definitely go and get very upset as my dad, my real father, and he'll be like, how dare you, she was your daughter. So he's very like justice oriented, so I love that about him. So no, we grow up to protect him, but I told him that I was gonna come here, and he said, oh, are you gonna do a poem about me? And I said, you'll be in it, babe. He'll read it when he's older, he's not allowed yet to, but thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. So just, I know you guys hate the word homework, but let me just tell you, okay? Back in the dinosaur age, there was this thing called open mics, right? Where people would go and listen and vibe and everything. So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and Google spoken word artists. I would suggest Mos Def. They did some really dope things with Simmons. These people are gifted orators. Obviously, everybody has a different style, but that is more what I would call spoken truth, okay? So it's not really like this perfect little road to poetry, right? It's what you feel in your heart, and then that is actually the reason why my book is Scribble Scrabbles, because it came from that. As you on a napkin, and I crumbled it, and then somebody chased me, pick up that, and I'm like, okay. Like, you know, so like whatever sets you free, just follow that, okay? So, that's it. Thank you.
Can I add one question?
Yeah.
Just because you said, a couple things you said that I want to connect and I want to get, because it's difficult for people to wrap their heads around this idea. So you had mentioned that in days past that Boyle Heights was forgotten about, like the money was put in this area or put in this area. Well, gentrification, isn't that putting the money in the area now? Or is it not? Like, what's the, like, you know, if you wanted the roads paved, and then gentrification's doing that, it's a very interesting gray area. So, like, what's your perspective on that?
I'll tell you that there have, especially in the Chicano movement, if you guys do some research on that, there have been wars and basically two sides on that thought, okay? I live in a very real world where it's like, okay, I freaking love like a CVS or a Walgreens, right? If you need to get something, it's very useful. However, to his point, where we could have gotten that at the farmacia in the corner and spoken to the clerks who used to know us and maybe helped us out in a calmer way, actually made eye contact, gave us what we needed and healed us as humans. It's a different way to heal someone when you treat them like a human as when you treat them like a number or a patient. So to that point, a big conglomerate, a big company loses that human touch. And I think in my ideal Peter Pan world, if we could have merged them and found a compromise where we could still have a good store that has the medicine that I need and have raza behind it, people of color, of different ethnicities that maybe understand our situation better. The language, right? The language is important. Never ever turn away somebody because you can't understand them with language, right? People communicate with bodies, with vibration, with emotions. Listen to what they need, and that's it. And I think that's what I would want it to be, like, you know. And it was like the movies, okay? So just to his point, make it more dramatic. There was metal detectors when metal detectors were popular. We couldn't have lockers, okay? There was inside situations happening in school. The admin thought lockers were not safe, okay? We didn't have textbooks, okay? You know how difficult it is to learn such a subject that I can't even pronounce, which is math, out of a non-book? Like a sheet of paper? Like, it's impossible, you know? So, to that point, to become somebody who never had enough books in a school that's supposed to have books, and one day be in a book, I have lived my truth, and I am so happy and blessed, and it's people like you and spaces like this that make that possible.
Give it up one more time for Sandy Shake. So I know this is a poetry event and all, but I mean, I wouldn't be a teacher if I didn't grab a teachable moment when it was available. So one of the reasons I asked a question about gentrification, because it's difficult from the outside to understand, you know, what's the difference? Like, we're in a location that's being forgotten about, but now you're bringing money in, which is what we wanted, right? But the thing that the thing that's difficult to understand is that Walgreens got a tax break to be there, right? Where I lived in Illinois, we had a similar thing happen. Walmart was invited to come in. They paid $1 in property tax for the first 5 years they were there as incentive to be there. I live 3 blocks away. My property taxes were $3,000 a year. So when gentrification happens, instead of giving Walmart that break, why not give that mom and pop shop that same break and help them build up their business so that they can bring money into the area but keep it with the people who are there? And that's why I brought that question up. So, okay, teachable moment over, back to poetry. So one more time, give it up for Sandy, give it up for Carlos. They drove down from LA today to be here and do this. So give it up, man. office. In a world where we are currently seeing libraries and schools and entire states being told, you can't teach this, we're gonna burn this book, this is too, we can't have our children learning these things. To be in a state and in a college that not only encourages that, but funds it and lets us have events like this, we are in a special place, and we have to recognize that. So give it up for Miramar College for giving us our space to do this. I would never get a job in Florida or Texas, y'all. It just wouldn't happen. So thank you all for being here. One more round of applause for yourselves for being here. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening. Peace, love, and poetry, y'all.